Okay. So I have a big list of things that I want to tell you guys about. So I will let you all go first and then I'll inundate, yeah, pile on with everything else. So I'm just going to go in order of how you look on my screen. Erin, do you have anything you want to tell us about what's going on in Southern Valley? Person I picked at right after she bailed out.
That's fine. Um, so actually we had a fire. Um, it would have been on the 7th or 8th that weekend. Um, a 9-year-old girl started a shower curtain on fire, and luckily we were able to get there in time. We had a super fast 6-minute response time. We were in the door and knocked it down. But so I have not had a lot of like practice with this. I've been fortunate to have Travis right next to us. Travis is kind of the expert around here, I would say. And we had worked together on, I think it was last spring. There was a young guy that was at the middle school, so Travis came and we talked to him because the SRO had contacted us. But then now we had this 9-year-old girl that had started a fire. So then we reached out to Travis again. And so all last week, I just kind of, that was my focus, was getting together a whole bunch of information for people and parents and for our department. I do want to create like an SOG so we just have everything. If this ever happens again, this is what plan we take. I did create like a pamphlet talking about it. That's on our website. Um, but the issue I'm having is we were really fortunate this girl was in the foster care system before she was adopted by these people. So they do have family counselors and everything like that. But my concern is if we have this happen and then the family or the child has never been to a counselor or their mental health provider, who do we turn to that has experience in youth fire setting? So I did reach out to some people. I haven't received any emails back. So I did call. We have pediatric therapy partners in Fargo, and they deal with all kinds of different things. And so their manager is going to look into who would be the best person um, to kind of recommend to these families. And so I can share that information when I get it to the group. But I guess that's my big concern is who do we turn to after we provide all the safety and fire information from our perspective? And then, I mean, like Travis said, we aren't mental health providers. We can't do anything past just fire safety. So I'm going to follow up with the family in a couple weeks and see how everything's going. But yeah.
Just to piggyback on that, Erin was talking about the folder that she put together for it, and I think that was you did a really good job of getting that information and the follow-up education pieces together for them, Erin. So yeah, I mean, very creative, very well done, and I think it together it worked really well. On top of that, to have Erin there already because she was familiar with the youth. So having the interview with Erin there, it was a familiar face, and it really helped to kind of earn her trust. Even though some of the times it was uncomfortable for her to talk, the young lady, Erin was able to help steer the conversation back and also give me time to write down on my notes. So I really appreciated having Erin there and her information. So good job.
Thanks. Good job to you too. It's very appreciated that we work so well together.
Sounds like a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Erin, if you struggle with the mental health providers, I have some contacts at Prairie St. John that are
Oh, okay.
responsive to me and pretty well versed in, I mean, they're high enough up that I think that they would know who to contact. So,
Yeah, that was my next contact.
Okay.
Yep, I was trying to do one
Sure.
provider at a time, just so I don't get them mixed up. But
No,
yeah,
yeah.
if you could do that, that would be amazing.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
just hard to find someone like, of course, I've Googled everything for youth fire setting and none of them have that specific training, it seems, or at least they don't put it on their website that they do.
yeah.
So that's
No,
what I'm struggling to
totally.
find.
And I would be surprised if anybody does. So maybe
Yep.
that's something we need to point out to them that is needed in
Yeah.
their area. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll ask him.
Marcy, where did you say they're out of? Because we're kind of like you, Aaron. We just had a kid actually start a fire here. My time's thrown off a week or two ago. And the mom reported that the kid had tried to start her bed on fire previously with her in it and potentially other fires. So we're kind of in the same boat. We don't have a really a youth fire starter service in Bismarck. We have the PD a little bit, but who is it you said that has dealt with that, Marcy, or
But
could
he hasn't
potentially?
necessarily dealt with it. Prairie St. John is a mental health hospital, Aaron. Is that a good way to put it?
Yep,
In
it is.
Fargo.
Yep. It's
But
inpatient
it's,
and outpatient.
yeah, it's my brother that I know that works there. And
Oh,
he's,
okay,
so
perfect.
he's familiar with the whole state because he's not, so, I'll contact him and see if there's a way that we can track down, and Pediatric Partners is all over the state. So
Mhm.
that's yeah. So I think we're going in a couple of good directions there. So yeah, I'll reach out to Josh and see if he has any ideas for us or can point us in the right direction. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, can't hurt to ask as many people as we can.
I did reach out to the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's
Oh.
Office because they actually do have a program. I haven't heard back from them yet, but if you go on their
Minnesota.
website, they have some excellent information and resources. The University of Michigan actually has
Carla?
program. It seems like it's kind of outdated, but it's really awesome. They have like it's through the University of Michigan's Trauma Burn Center. And so they actually have like I think it's a 6-week program for families to go through, which we're nowhere near that. I mean, but that'd be a wonderful goal, like in the next 10, 15 years to have something like that in North Dakota would be amazing.
So to let you in on where I'm at with youth fire setting is that I reached out to Minnesota because I took a different class. It wasn't on youth fire setting from the lady that's in Minnesota and asked her how what they're doing and she said, you have to take the class before, they wouldn't even really talk to me and I haven't taken the class yet.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I need to get into that. And I've heard the lady from Michigan speak, and she's one of those people that you see her, if you go to these conferences, she's at all of them.
Okay.
And she and the lady in Minnesota are really heavily working on an online program. So,
Okay, that would be amazing.
yeah, so there's some updates happening and it's all evidence-based and stuff like that. They're very
Mm-hmm.
scientific about it. They're not just throwing stuff at the wall. So there is some stuff coming down the pike, and I'll find that information of what they're doing online and get that
Okay.
out to you guys so that since we're talking about it. And maybe we should have, you know what, I'll reach out to Carla and see if she'd be willing to come talk to us.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Because she's fascinating. The first
She's the
time I
gal
heard her
from U of M, right? Or
Yes.
University of Michigan.
exactly,
Yep.
yes. And the other lady too, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but yeah, we could
I think it's
reach out to-
Kathy.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Carla, the first time I heard her speak, about a half an hour into it, I was like, wow, this is depressing.
Mhm.
It was like really hard to listen to, but by the end you're feeling optimistic. So I don't know if that's typically how she does it, but that's what I remember about her. So we can, I'll reach out to those folks and see if we can get some of them coming in.
Okay, that'd be amazing. Thanks, Marcy.
Yeah. Anything else from your end?
Nope, just getting ready for Fire Prevention Week in October.
Yay.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I love doing that. The kids
Okay.
get so excited.
It seems so overwhelming to me to everything that happens all at once. So,
It's fine.
okay. Okay. Well, since we've kind of got a natural progression going here, Travis, how's things going out there? We haven't seen you in a while. West Fargo busy?
Yeah, no, we're doing all right. Just one more thing about the youth fire setter thing. It is a very useful tool to have in your toolbox. It is pretty in depth. If you're able to get out to any of the trainings, I know it's been requested. I believe Dawn from Fargo requested at the last NDFPA conference about possibly getting some sort of training for it.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully we might be able to dig into that too. But it's a pretty big course, so I don't know if you can get it in 2 days. It is very useful. The other part that obviously with fire prevention month, yeah, we're getting everything ordered and put away and scheduled for the visits. And this will be our first station tour of our big station. Our previous station, if you've ever been to our previous one in West Fargo, wasn't that big.
Oh.
And so it was pretty easy to get the kids in, around, and out. And there wasn't any firefighters there. So now we get to hopefully play along well with the suppression side. I think we have almost 600 kindergartners coming through the station that get bussed over from the school. So we're excited about that. And then as far as anything different or even something I might have a question for everybody else in the group, short-term rentals. Uh, some are called Airbnbs or different places like that. And I'm wondering if anybody else were looking into possibly permitting them. Just because they're with the rentals, you're having people coming in, spending the night there, and so we're trying to bring it up to the city, and the city might be adopting where we actually go out and do a fire inspection to make sure the smoke alarms and everything are up to date, and that there's a certain code that they be held to. So I was just wondering, statewide, if anybody else has dipped their toes into that Pandora's box.
Travis, this came up, I can't remember if it was here or somewhere else a little while back, and I thought someone brought up a code that actually kind of referenced some of that. Have you found where they specifically talk about Airbnb in the code? And I'm asking this as a question. I can't remember if it was decided that it was in the code or it just fit the code, but I know we've kind of discussed in the past, we're not there, but it's definitely something, we have a lot of them also as all bigger cities and even smaller ones now, they're just popping up everywhere. So just curious, have you found anything that specifically talks about it in the code, or is it pretty much just an open area so far?
I believe there's something in, and so I come ill prepared. I apologize. But I can definitely share it back if there's something that we're referring to in the 2021 code book as far as rentals or anything like that. Yeah, I apologize if it has been brought up before, but
No,
I will
no.
definitely look to see because
Oh.
I think it's more of a city thing
It's
right now
actually
for
in the
us.
code.
It
Yeah, we
is?
had talked about it here, Ian. It
Okay, I thought it,
was,
and
I
sorry,
think
I
it was,
wasn't,
yeah, it's classified as, I believe it was an R3 because it's like a lodging house with 5 or fewer guests. Or 5 or fewer guest rooms and 10 or fewer occupants.
okay.
And then
And
it
that's
kind of
all,
came up about talking about if they need to have a fire suppression system or not.
that's all I was hoping for, Travis, was that somebody would recall, because my memory's not always the greatest. I was hoping someone like Aaron would recall something on that conversation that got discussed, so.
Yep. No, it's like I said, it's kind of new for us too, and we really didn't think about it until it kind of until you see them more.
So does that mean that they are permittable or that you do have some authority?
Again, I think I think it's up to the jurisdiction to, the authority, you know, having jurisdiction if we want to permit them. I know they've done other places because we've looked them up, on some other fire stations and their permitting is fairly steep, but they're making a pretty good amount of money off of them. Then again, it'll depend on what or how far into it our cities are gonna, our city is gonna want to do that because you got to keep everybody happy. So.
And then
Fair.
on that, Travis, how do you track them? Because like for us, we don't have a business license in town, which I'm sure a lot of cities don't. So anyone can just turn their house into an Airbnb. So do you go on the site and try to search for your town and then start reaching out? I mean, that sounds like a giant undertaking to start tracking them down when there's already currently no license. Like, how do we get that out to the Airbnb community, which isn't a community that they need to have a permit?
I will keep you posted.
Okay.
Okay.
I have more questions than
I'll gladly
answers.
let you know because that is,
Okay.
yep, that is something that we're going to try to move forward with, and maybe we'll hit a brick wall and they'll say, okay, let's just tap the pedal a little bit on it. But you know, with it being a place where you're coming out of town and you're staying there and you're supposed to be safe and everything, we just want to make sure. Yeah, maybe it'll spread. Maybe it'll be something that is open for them that they'll want to have done. Maybe it'll be required by the city, but again, I'm not sure. You're right. I mean, they're all over the place. Sometimes it's hard to track them. So I'll let you know.
Okay.
Anything else, Travis?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Robbie, how are things going there?
We're just gathering some data now for our community risk reduction stuff, going through all of
Oh.
our medical calls and it's a long process.
Yeah, yeah. Are you the one doing it or is there, do you have a team or
All
what do you-
three of us are working on it, all three of the
Okay.
inspectors.
Good luck.
So-
That'll be a nice thing to have though.
Hopefully, if we can get the crews on board to help with some of the stuff.
Ah, okay. All right. Anything else going on?
Nothing new up here other than that.
Okay.
Just kind of getting started on the community risk reduction side of things.
Yeah. And there's a lot once you start getting into it. It's
Yep.
kind of overwhelming for a while.
Yes, it is.
Or forever. Ironhorse Bismarck.
Busy. So yeah, got a lot of stuff going. Of course, like everyone else, got Pub Ed Month coming up. We got 40 schools to schedule. I sent out an email this year to try to have the schools call me, and so far as of today, I've had one call. So that means I've got 39 schools to call before the first of the month and try to get scheduled. So that's always big. And then getting out materials, we try to get it all set up for them, Adam and I, and then set up the Pub Ed smoke trailer for them so that way they can do it. And then we have the crews do most of the training. So that's worked well for us in the past. It's a lot more communication and scheduling, but we just wouldn't have time for that many schools. So on that, I do have a question for the group, and this one, I don't know if it's been brought up before either or two. Better than paper. So I'm still finishing up my inspections from last year. I had a couple that were bigger projects and they've been working on. So I just happened to go back to one yesterday and still walls 100% covered in a product. So they call it better than paper or better than butcher paper. I've looked it up online several different times throughout my career here, and I can never find anything that says it has an NFPA actual rating. What it says is doesn't meet the, I got it right here, but doesn't meet a flammable solid per 16 CFR 1500, which I can't find any cross-reference to any NFPA 293 or 1303 test of any kind. So I'm just kind of curious if you guys have seen it in your city schools, if it's something you allow. I thought it was brought up before, and I thought one of the towns said that they allowed it in their schools. And I did reach out to Doug, and he was reaching out to his deputies to see what they were coming up with. But I didn't know if any of you guys had any familiarity with it.
I do. Yeah, actually, we have it, or we used to have it in the elementary school here. It wasn't last year, but the year before. And so I did a whole bunch of research on it as well. And then the state fire marshal's office talked about it with all the deputies, and it was decided that no, it's not. It doesn't meet the testing standards.
Perfect.
I can
That-
look and see, and forward you the email that I
That'd be
have.
great.
Okay. So yeah, it's kind of some strange stuff, but teachers love it. It's basically like contact paper.
So when you read it, it advertises it as better than paper because you can draw on it. The staples don't show. It covers. It's a
Mhm.
non-woven fabric, and they call it a non-combustible solid. Which a combustible solid is when you Google that and everything else. Like I spent a bit of time, but I'm like, someone out there has to have just whether it's tested or not, and I can't imagine that it is just looking at it.
It was tested, but not to the NFPA standards. So it was the wrong testing standards that were completed on it. So that's why it didn't meet the requirements. So that's why the state fire marshal's office decided it was not allowed.
Perfect. Yeah, if you have that would be great. So other than
Yeah.
that, we got I know Adam has a couple questions for that we've been working on lately, but yeah, it's just been busy. Now we got uh conference coming up next week in Grand Forks, so looking forward to that. So hope to see most of you guys there at that one too. So that's all I got, Marcy.
Thanks, Ian. And thanks, Erin. That makes me happy to see you guys being able to share information like this. This is perfect. It's what I was hoping for. Adam, did you have anything to add?
There we go. Yes, I had a couple questions. So, and we don't have our normal, I don't know, 20 some people on today, but maybe somebody has some information. We're kind of trying to come up with some answers or going about antifreeze systems.
Yeah.
I
Antifreeze
know,
systems?
right. They're coming up to that expiration where they would have to, like the older antifreeze would need to be swapped out with a newer antifreeze that's UL listed. That isn't, that's not going to meet probably the criteria we need here for our colder temperatures. I think the old stuff's listed for like 50 or 60 below. The newer stuff that's required that's UL listed is only, I think, 25 below. So something along those lines. So basically, as what is other cities doing? Are they making them put dry systems in, or anybody have any information? Probably not.
Crickets? Is when you say I'm not gonna show my lack of fire service training here. Is that, are we talking about sprinkler systems?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, sprinkler systems. Yep.
Okay.
Like attic spaces or whatever are exposed to the elements where they have to put antifreeze in so they don't freeze. Like I said, the stuff they currently have. I know our one of our providers is recommending that they replace it because it's, there's a sunset date on the older stuff to get removed because it is flammable. They found out to be. That's why they want it kind of switched out. But at the same time, it doesn't keep it from freezing. Well, the new stuff. I would think that 25 below, our winters get a little colder than that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, but the old stuff they have is pretty good for not freezing, but it is flammable. They found that's why they want people to. Uh, I wish I had some more information. I had it written down. I should do a little more research, but basically, yeah, they just have to. I think it was 2021, 2023. They had a sunset date where they had to swap out the antifreeze. And if they haven't done so, I guess one of our suppliers is telling them that that's recommended. I don't know. I think it's more of a requirement. But then where do we go if they don't have the antifreeze that can meet the freezing temperatures, or they have to go to a dry system, which will be pretty spendy. So, and if anyone has any information, they could email me on that because we're just kind of come up with a good answer or something that we can go forward with. The other question. Is anyone here doing third-party reporting? I think West Fargo is, for just, I guess, general like maintenance on like hoods and all that, where people have to report their servicing.
Yeah, we go through, it's called Bricer.
Right, sir. Okay.
So they're able to, there's a handful of them out there, but the one we go through is through the Bricer compliance engine.
Okay.
And they get a lot of the reports from the service techs and the sprinkler and alarm panels.
Right.
And then it goes, they'll send out anything if there's any deficiencies to you for reviewing. And then that inspection will be sent out with your fire department's letterhead and a brief description of what it is. But it is useful because then it doesn't necessarily require us to go through and review all the findings page by page. But I would definitely look into Brycer, and I can actually get you into contact, Adam, with the guy who kind of heads it up for us at our station.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. So it's been a pretty good find for you. I mean, you guys have been using it pretty well. It's like helpful.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay, that's great. That's all I have. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks, Adam.
Yep.
Doug, do you have anything? Your mic is up.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here and sharing all that information. That's great to hear. One thing that I just want to echo I want to say that we are hearing echoes and kind of calls for it and have been for a while is the youth fire setter. So like Marcy kind of said, we are starting to try to look in that direction a little bit to see what we can offer out of our office and what we can do with the staffing that we have. So, as Marcy said, kind of one of those, stay tuned, hopefully, over the next course of year or so, we can kind of get Marcy to training and figure out what the scope of that would be for our office to help better assist with those or have some sort of program for us all to work through. Another thing is we have a lunch and learn on, I think, October 4th. That's going to be focused on haunted houses. So we do know, one thing that I do know is that there are a lot of places that have pop-up haunted houses in a lot of towns throughout North Dakota. And they are not necessarily designed for that, or most likely in most cases are absolutely not designed for that. And so we're just trying to get that word out and try to let especially volunteer fire chiefs that might have those and might not know the codes applicable to them, give them a heads up that, hey, if they're going to have those in their town, they better take some considerations and do some sort of review with the property owner that's doing that and get something in place. So look for that. And if you didn't get an invite, that's a webinar, so you can sign up for that, I believe, online. Marcy can correct me on any of that.
On our website.
The other
Go to
thing
the CRR
is
calendar.
Okay. We also, our annual fire report is just about out. We are working on putting the finishing touches on that and hope to have that printed and posted to our website, hopefully in the next week here. So we're excited to have that. That one's always a challenge to get out in a timely manner, just because, so it is for 2023, just because we do keep the reporting period open until June 30th, past that year all the time. So we didn't close it until June 30th this year. So it always takes us a little bit of time to get those numbers together, verify, make sure they're all correct, and get together the numbers we want to report and point out to the rest of the state and yourselves. So look for that as well. And I think those are the two biggest things that I kind of wanted to touch on. So otherwise, thanks everybody. Appreciate all the thoughts and input and questions on this. I think it's a good place.
Too. I'm very excited. Okay, I have a stack of information, and there's probably a good possibility I should just send an email. So if it gets out of control, don't hesitate to let me know. First thing I wanted to tell you guys was that State Farm, it's taken me forever to find out if State Farm has a partnership in North Dakota, and they do. And apparently there have been Fire Prevention Week kits sent to the North Dakota agents. So if you don't have a State Farm agent that you're in regular contact with, maybe you want to reach out, because apparently they have stuff that is just hanging out waiting for somebody to show up and ask for it. Vision 2020 has CRR materials generator. I haven't tried it. I just got the link and haven't gone through it yet, but I'll send you a link for that. I found a new monthly meeting to add to my rotation, and through that I found a whole bunch of stuff. One is that there's going to be a fire service, mental wellness, and suicide prevention symposium. in Nashville in March. I don't know if your groups have started getting farther into that or not, but it's a big topic at all the conferences I've gone to lately, and there's a lot of people learning a lot of stuff. Next week is also Fall Prevention Week. I didn't realize that. Fall Prevention Awareness Week. I'm guessing that several of you that have the bigger programs probably know about it, but if that's happening, the National Council on Aging has a toolkit. So again, I will send you the link for that if you need some information. I know it's kind of last minute, but the USFA is having a fire administrators summit. I don't know what that means. I don't know, but they were pretty excited about it. And I will send you some information about that too. There is, oh yeah, pre-conference agenda and things like that. There's a grant development presentation. So they are also doing a climate change driven risks, response, and resilience. So this is in response to wildfires. There's also something called the Truman Legacy Symposium. So I've never heard of it, and I've got a flyer that I will send to you, but it's fire prevention focused because Truman was the first person to say much about it or something. Anyway, so there's that. The lunch and learn that Doug mentioned. Along with that, we're going to develop a tip sheet on haunted houses. And we've got a pretty lengthy list of tip sheets that we want to make available. So those will be coming out. We'll be letting you know about those. And then the last thing I have is I got an email about a webinar that the Austin Fire Department and the Missouri DOT are presenting in innovative tools for traffic incident management. And so I know that the folks on this call deal with a fair amount of traffic incidents. So again, that's more information that I will forward out to the group. So if there's anything there that you would like more information on or are wondering where the heck I got my information or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out. And I know it's a lot, but am I sending too many emails? Everybody doing okay with that, or am I flooding you? Going okay? You're flooded? Thanks, Doug. Oh, you had something to say? I thought you were telling me I was overwhelming you.
No, I was just gonna add, also please keep the ideas coming on what you all need
Yes.
from our office, not only just on these kitchen table meetings, but just as a whole. Like I said, we are listening. It's just that sometimes it takes us a while to, one, either wrap my head around it, or two, for us to organize and figure out what we can do with it from our office. Because as you know, other states are fantastic. Sometimes they have a lot more resources from us. So sometimes our way of running something or trying to get information out is sometimes very different than other states. So sometimes it just takes us a while to develop that or figure out what our path is, versus how other states go at it. So please keep bringing the ideas. Please keep pushing out what you need from our office. We do look for direction from all of you and take that. As Marcy said, we're looking at trying to develop more tip sheets or fact or data sheets, like kind of one pagers on different challenging topics for local fire chiefs, with the idea of hopefully giving them a little bit more guidance on those. That would include pop-up homeless shelters, especially as we come into the winter. Like Marcy said, haunted houses. At some point we want to get a little bit better information about mobile food trucks and how those go, and hopefully get everybody more on the same page. So if you have ideas for what should go into those, or if you have ideas on different ones that you need or think that we need to level out from a state perspective and make sure everybody's following the same things, please push that information to us and let us know, and we'll try to work on it as much as we can. So
Yeah.
just wanted to echo that, is please keep bringing us the ideas of what you all are seeing and what you need. And like I said, won't necessarily happen by next meeting, but we are listening and we are trying to put that stuff together and keep improving what we can provide.
Doug, I was wondering if you came to conclusion on the Christmas lights in the schools from last month?
Nothing official. I think we talked about it with our staff at a meeting, or I followed up with somebody. And I don't know, the way I was thinking of it initially was if it's temporary, you know, that's fine. If it's not, then, if it's full-time wiring, well then,
It's,
if
yeah.
it's plug-in, well then it's got to be plugged directly into the outlet or
Mhm.
directly into whatever other mode is acceptable under the fire code. I know chapter 6 has changed a lot lately. That's why I hesitate to say exactly what, but then I would just look at it as it needs to meet that. If it's temporary, yeah, you can probably throw up Christmas lights for the season if it's under,
Mhm.
what is it, 90 days or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
if they can
temporary
have them
that
up for
stuff.
90 days, but these are like permanent.
But if
They
it's
have
over
them.
that,
Yeah.
well, then I'd say it needs to meet the fire code and the electrical
Okay.
code.
Okay. That
So how
sounds
do you-
good. It's easier if it's across the board, across the state, then everyone knows, and then it's not, just West Fargo schools doing it and whatever. So I appreciate you weighing in on that.
And that's something too, where if there's other things specific to schools of common questions, that maybe that's another data sheet that we can help pump out there, push out there on our website and send out is, some of those questions like exiting, and especially with all this security issues of exiting and all that, maybe we can put together a data sheet that says a little bit on that and a little bit on the electrical and the portable or temporary versus permanent electrical stuff, and answer some of those questions too.
Doug, on that note, the other things kind of with the school that we run into a lot are, of course, the wall coverings. And then the temporary wall coverings for like art shows and stuff like that, whether they're saying it's just a temporary thing, but it's still, you could be up to 80% of hallways. And then lamps is another one that we struggle with. And I don't know if that falls into the same category as Christmas lights or how that one, if there's any weigh in on that, but certainly a lot of things that could be put together on a school sheet would be nice for the amount of schools we have here.
Yeah, probably not that stuff, Ian, but I mean everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
just want to
hey,
mess with you.
baby steps. We're working on. I'm getting there. It's taken me a while, but I'm
No.
getting them there.
No, that's good stuff too that I just didn't mention. But yeah, especially the stuff that you brought up as far as new things, and even just to help get that guidance out, that's something that we can probably share them with DPI, and they can pump out to the schools, and schools know they can contact their local fire department, all that stuff, and hopefully just create better information and get that out faster, sooner, and in front of things. Eventually get in front of things. But yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. Thanks.
Okay. I want you to know, I was putting notes in as you were talking about all that stuff. I did have paper notes but yeah, now they're on the list of things that I want to get done. The data pages that Doug was talking about, we've got things like, yeah, the pop-up homeless shelters, trailer house fires. I don't know about your districts, but Mandan saw a lot of trailer house fires last winter. So we wanted to get into that. Lithium ion batteries, I've taken a meeting this week and we're working to figure out a partnership and some kind of a data sheet with the solid waste people and things like that. So that's another one. Mobile food trucks, propane tanks, talk about, and schools now are on the list. So yeah, like Doug said, don't hesitate to add to the list. And we'll develop some partnerships with all these folks and get some stuff out there. So is there anything else anybody wants to add or ask about or talk about?
Of course, me, just because I love my voice, which actually is not true.
I love it too, Ian.
I got one for Travis here. Travis, so I thought I had seen something on the ICC deal one time, so I just did it real quick here. And it's an ICC answers on the Airbnb. It's a few years old, but I'm sending it to you, but I'll read it real quick to everyone just for maybe discussion. But while a case can be made that a single family dwelling used as a rental property should be regulated as an R1, R2, depending on the length of transiency In accordance with the 2018 IBC, these types of dwelling units, in our opinion, is still most appropriately regulated in accordance with the IRC, which applies to 1 and 2 family dwellings. While the IRC does not address specific contractual land use types of ownership arrangements, such as Airbnb, these types of dwelling units are typically individually owned. A group R3 occupancy classification in the IBC is typically for mixed occupancy buildings, which contain no more than 2 dwelling units, such as apartments, over a small business. So, and then just kind of goes on a little from there, but it kind of sounds like they don't want to take a stance on it either, just, I suppose, based on some of the comments that we've made, but I'll send that to you. It's just kind of interesting. Not that it's an answer, but it's information.
No, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that, Ian. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Anything else? Going once? I'm not really getting countdown. Okay, thanks, everybody. This has been recorded, so we will get it up on the website. Jacob is awesome about getting those up as soon as I give them to him, which is normally the trick. And I will forward you some of this information that I have. If you need anything else, let us know. And otherwise, we will see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Marcy.
Thank
Thanks.
you.